Depending on the source, Costco is either the leading or the second leading wine retailer across the entire United States. They're in competition with Total Wine and More. They have their own in-house brand of wines called the Kirkland Signature Series. These wines are sourced from producers, they're bottled at origin, then they're brought in. Costco does a fantastic job of limiting the quantity and then always changing it up. So every time you're going into the store, it's like a treasure hunt. You're finding something new. I know for me, for example, it's hard sometimes to find some of these European Kirkland signature brands because they sell out at my Costco really quickly. But I was in my Costco last week. I saw these three bottles. I said, hey, let's pick them up, let's buy them, and let's give them a taste. I know people that go gaga over these Kirkland signature wines. I get it. They're good value for money. All these wines are $24.99, $19.99, $14.99. So they are, pretty affordable wines. I haven't gotten super excited about a Kirkland signature wine besides the Rioja Reserva. I think that's pretty good consistently throughout the vintages I've tasted. I haven't tasted these two. I have been impressed with the Barolo in the past, so let's give it a go. For us wine geeks, like it or not, this is probably the future, more and more so, of how wine's going to be sold. Producers bottling and making private labels for big retail chains. It's happened for a long, long time. But with stocks backing up throughout the world, producers needing to make a living, I think this is going to be the way to go. I know us wine snobs and wine pros can turn our nose up at stuff like this, but this is how the general wine drinker goes and purchases wine. They don't want to go to a specialty shop. Wine is super intimidating. They want to go where they're normally buying stuff, supermarkets, grocery stores, and then picking up wine here. So I guess this is a better option than a lot of stuff out there. Let's get into it. First, I have the Gigondas 2023. Look on the back label. This is made by Gigondas. I haven't tasted any of his private wines. I know that he also makes Kirkland Signature Chateau Enough to Pop, which I'm not a huge fan of. Gigondas, I like this appellation. It's in the south of France. It's based on GSM blends, Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre. It's smaller than Chateauneuf de Pop. I like it because the vineyards can go slightly higher in elevation. Down in the southern Rhone, they have problems with heat, especially Grenache. The grapes can accumulate sugar really high, so the alcohols can be quite high. This is 85% Grenache, 10% Syrah, 5% Mourvedre, comes in at 14.5% alcohol. But there is some leeway when it comes to alcohol, so maybe it's more like 15, 15 and a half. I'm going to be tasting out of my Glassvin GV, the Bordeaux glass. I like this because for a Bordeaux glass, it's got a little bit of a bigger bowl, and I think it's going to work for all these, so it's like my Costco universal glass. I have a link below. You want to check it out. It helps the channel if you purchase with that link, so thank you. The signature landmark when you go to Gigondas in the south, I was just there last year, are the Dentil, this jagged tooth of mountain ranges, a small mountain range. Some of the vineyards are planted up there. During the dry season, you can't even go up that way because it can get really dry. If your vehicle sparks or causes sparks somehow, it can start some wildfires there. Let's just give this a go. This comes in at $14.99. I know all of these appellations pretty darn well, so let me compare to what you're going to find out there. Okay, this does not smell as concentrated as a Gigondas is concentrated like Chateauneuf de Pop. Smells to me at first more like a Côte de Rhône. Côte de Rhône is the bigger appellation which surrounds Gigondas, some of the most affordable, some of the best value wines in the world. But I have to admit this smells good. This smells typical Grenache. You got the stewed cherry flavors, lots of stewed cherry. It's even a little bit floral. You got some earthiness to it, a little bit of meatiness, a little bit of pepperiness. It's not ridiculously complex, but it is got a lot going on. Not bad. Pretty darn good, to be honest. Nose is super good. Maybe like a Côte de Rhône Village type level. So, you have Côte de Rhônes, basic Côte de Rhônes, Côte de Rhône Village. Their wines are from villages or village that are typically produce better wine, better fruit. And then you have the crus of the Southern Rhône, like Gigondas, like Chateauneuf de Pop. Let's give this a go. On the palate, this does taste like a high quality GSM. It's got length. It's got finish. Tannins aren't super big, so it's not going to rip your face off. Boom. I said it got length, and all of a sudden the wine kind of disappears a little bit. I think this is pretty good. It doesn't have the length, the concentration, the richness to be a great Gigondas. If I think of Gigondas should be maybe like whole milk, this is something more like 2%, maybe on the border of to skim. But it's decent, I think, for a sipper to bring to a house party, especially if you're going to have meat there. This is going to go great. Good hamburger wine as well. Good hamburger wine. Very good wine at $14.99. I highly recommend. I'm going to go 89 points. To me, it's more like Côte d'Iron Village. It's not Gigondas. But I think, man, at this kind of price point, people are going to be very pleased. And this is a crowd pleaser. Oh, the tannins start to build up a little bit. This is a crowd pleaser, something they're going to bring to a party. It's got all the fruitiness that Grenache brings, but it's got some subtle, earthy nuances that wine geeks like me would want a little bit more. To me, it drinks like a pretty good Côte d'Iron Village. I'm going to give thumbs up to the Gigondas. That's one of the better Kirkland signature wines that I think I've tasted. I've had on this channel the Saint Emilion before. I've had some other ones, the Chateauneuf de Pape. If you like this content, I would like you to consider becoming a channel member. I have several tiers, but in the Grand Reserve tier, I have a monthly live hangout tasting where we talk shop, share wines. It's really difficult to find family and friends that are into wine like you and I are, and that's what this community is. There are perks for other members too, and it supports the work I do here, so thank you. Next up, we have the Kirkland Signature Pauillac 2023. This comes in at $19.99, aged 9 months, it says, in oak barrels. I don't see who the producer it is. I know it's imported by Misa Imports, which is, they import a lot of Bordeaux. Actually, I was with one of the buyers in Serbia. He was on an exploratory trip back a couple of months ago. Pauillac is an appellation in Bordeaux on the left bank of Bordeaux, so more Cabernet-based wines. Pauillac is home to some of the most prestigious, most expensive Bordeaux in the world. You think Lafite Rothschild, you think Mouton Rothschild, you think Latour, Pichon Baron. Pauillac, for me, usually has this tobacco-type flavor. 2023, this seems pretty darn young, so we'll see. There's a lot of wine made in Bordeaux. It's still one of the great red wine value regions in the world, especially vintages like 2022, which is ripe. You can get some fantastic wines, 15, 20 bucks. We'll see how this is. Pauillac is like a nicer, more prestigious name in Bordeaux, so you know, I don't know what kind of heat they can bring at $19.99. By the way, I said Misa Imports. That's a great way for imported wines. If you like a wine, you look at the back, you look at the importer, and go and look at their website, see other producers that they bring in. That might be a hint, because the producer is like the real influencer. They go and select the wines for the market. You might like those wines too. This is darker than the Gigondas. I just like saying Gigondas too. It just rolls off your tongue nice. Gigondas. Pauillac, okay too. Let's give this a go. Okay, I would expect this to smell a lot more chemically for Bordeaux at this price, but it does not. This smells like a true Bordeaux blend. You get the purple cherry, you get a little floral, the purple cherry, the black cherry, you get a little bit of the floral notes, you get a touch of tobacco, which I've been impressed with. It's, again, not super rich and concentrated, but I think it smells pretty. And then people that are, this is obviously Cabernet Sauvignon. You get that cassis fruit. You get a touch of soy sauce. I think people that are used to California Cabernet, these flavors are familiar. I had the least expectations for this wine out of the three that I bought. And I have to say this is pretty good. I take another sip. This really whips the pants out of a lot of Cabernet Sauvignons I see at this price point at $19.99. Sometimes you get the California ones, they're just too stewy. This does some tannin, it has some grip. I expected this to be austere, not fruity at all. I think people that like Cabernet, if you're a Cabernet drinker, I would go for this. It's not as huge and massive as something you get out of the kind of California Cab at that kind of price point, maybe Washington State. It is Bordeaux-esque. I love the tobacco flavors. There's nuance here. There's a touch of mocha. This is going to be excellent with kind of like a blue rare steak type of deal. Also could be okay with hamburgers. This actually has structure where I feel like it could age too as well. I would actually consider maybe buying a few bottles and like just putting in the cellar. I have to go to Costco today. Maybe I'll buy a bottle and just stick it in the cellar. This is pretty good. I'm going to go 92 points on this. This is probably the best Kirkland signature wine that I've had. This is good. I am upset because I wanted to make a video where I'd go and just poo-poo on some wines. That's good. I am ridiculously impressed with that wine. Like, I want to drink that wine. As a wine geek, this has the familiar Cabernet flavors that a lot of people are going to enjoy. But for a wine geek, you stick this in the blind tasting, I'm going to be very impressed. This is good. It doesn't taste as young as the vintage 2023. You know, with Bordeaux, a lot of times they taste a lot better with time in the bottle. That is good. Good job, Pauillac. I wanted these wines to not be good so I could just get off and be super critical. Let's go on. This is the Kirkland Signature Barolo 2021. Fantastic vintage in Piemonte. This comes in at $24.99. I don't know who produces it, but it's brought in by Etica Wines. Etica is a fantastic importer of Italian wines. They don't have a huge portfolio, but they bring in great stuff. This Barolo, for those that don't know, one of the greatest Italian wines. It's in the northwest corner of Italy in Piemonte, based on the grape Nebbiolo, which is like, I like Madeline from Wine Folly says, it's like a football player that does ballerina. Light on its toes, can be kind of Burgundian Pinot Noir-esque on the nose, but those tannins, they come and they hit you like a linebacker. Let's give this a go. I had the 2019 in a blind tasting of Barolos last year, and I was pretty impressed with it. See how the 21 is. These vintages, 16 is for me in my young wine career. I've been doing this now professionally for about 10 years, was probably the greatest vintage I tasted in Piemonte. I thought 19 and 21 are pretty darn good too. Let's give this a go. It's going to be a lighter in color. Nebbiolo, like Grenache, like Pinot Noir, like Sangiovese, doesn't have a ton of color. It smells good. This does not smell like a super nuanced Barolo. When I expect to taste or smell great Barolo, especially young, I want it to explode out of the glass with rose petal, with tar, with cranberry type flavors. This, to me right now, it's not exploding. It's not as chiseled, it's not as defined as a Barolo. Kind of smells and tastes more like a Langhe Nebbiolo. I definitely get some cranberry, some earth, maybe like a touch of tar, but it doesn't explode out of the glass. I always use fresh fruit as an example. If you've ever had a super fresh orange that you've gotten off the tree and you crack it open, you taste it and smell it, the flavors really explode versus one that's been sitting in the supermarket for a while. So this is like one that's been sitting in the supermarket versus a top-end Barolo, is that fresh cut orange. It just smells good. It smells good. It doesn't smell great. So I remember about the 2019 as well. A little less concentrated, a little more delicate as far as Barolos go. This kind of finishes without the fruit. The tannins are there. I think it's pretty good, but Nebbiolo is so tough. Nebbiolo is like, and Barolo is like Burgundy. You can pay a lot and be disappointed. You can get values that are blown away. I think as a red wine, this is pretty good. As a Barolo, not in the same league as other Barolo. So how am I going to score it? Overall as a red wine or just compared to Barolo? I'm going to give it 87 points. I think it's good. I think it's really good wine. $24.99. Like, if, again, it's a different style wine, different flavor set though. But I think that people will be much happier with the Pauillac and the Gigondas. And my big winner out of this is the Pauillac. This Nebbiolo is going to go great with stuff with tomato sauce, or even, it's not a soft flavor, maybe even black truffles. That's black and white truffles is a common pairing. in Piemonte, but here in America, tomato sauce. Italian wines are great with that acidity, the sourness, the bitter tannin. So, okay, my overall winner is the Pauillac here, but I think the Gigondas is a great buy too. So tell me, do you like Kirkland signature wines? Have you tried any of these before? What's your impression? I'd love to hear. Drop it in the comments below.